Thank you, French, but shalom, and greetings to you all. Well, you know what? It's that time of the year again when the Great White North and the U.S. of A., the great experiment in democracy, will celebrate their birthdays. You know, birthdays come, birthdays go, but there's just one thing you ought to know you'll always have a special place in my heart. Yes, you will, and it's been there from the start. Yes, it has been there from the start. Whether you're Canadian or American, or you think of these two great friends, or at least they once were, they each hold a special place in the hearts, not just of their citizens, but in the hearts of people throughout the world. They stand as the city on the hill of progress, of growth, of free exchange, or at least they did. Both have been great celebrations of freedom, true and alienable right, which was handed to man when Moses led the people from the house of slavery in Egypt, but which every once in a while we continue to see slipping away. Precious time, slipping away. But you're only king for a day. Doesn't matter to which God you pray. Precious time, slipping away. And one thing you cannot replace, my friends, is time. It's great currency of life. It is the one thing you do not want to let slip away. It is a magic potion. It helps us. It heals us. Precious time slipped away last week when El Presidente told Iran they had within 2 weeks to make a very important decision. 2 days later, they were sent back to the Stone Ages. The world can breathe easier with a non-nuclear nation of haters who only want death, destruction, and ultimate subjugation of the world. No thanks. Been there, done that. The big and little Satans live, and I dare you to find anybody you know who was unhappy about it, no matter what they pretend to say in public. Yes, my friends, Midnight Hammer will go down in history. Now next, let's get the remaining hostages and bodies released. Let us all celebrate this rewriting of history and reforming of the map. Now, there are other areas of stupid fighting going on, but we should know better. And I see there are calls for a Zionist-Palestinian two-state solution that's somewhat of an oxymoron, or is it something that was simply proposed by an oxymoron? Haters hate. October 7th was real. Let's work to find a real solution. That is how to turn away decades of programming. When someone can figure that out, perhaps we can do it here too. So in the meantime, let's gather as a like-minded group, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love. So we come together as a community because we welcome everybody, because we are a true k0rach, a fellowship. So we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, k0rach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we're always individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her their own way. So once again, go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov, Hibenai, Shevetahim Gam Yahad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. Because we support each other in this community, so let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of your own sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in. Because, believe it or not, we all do believe in something. That's a part of your Kavanaugh. It's your intention. It's what you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. And goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct, It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. And it's goodwill. Energy, light, that we sent to help those that you know need help. Because we want to help and heal and renew everybody. Energy is for everybody to bring them back. It floats through space. It finds those in need. So send it out for those you know, and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It is for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The k0rach, that is part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And a part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick, even though it is the prayer always said for the sick. But just keep in mind, it's always for those in your hearts and in your minds, and for the people in need. Special thoughts and prayers always for those in need of true assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them, because we want health, recovery, good life renewal for everybody around us. And let's continue to send healing energy for the hostages, still in their prisons, still languishing in their pits of despair. Some of them seem to be completely forgotten by the wars around the world. But these are the never-to-be-forgotten victims. Time will not erase them. It is for those closer to us. For Pal and Al. For Winston. For the fairy godmother. For Charles. Billy, Miriam. For Callie, Carson, for Gabby. For Snoopy. For the Builder, for Elf. For Dave and Sabrina. For Maria and Paul. For PJ. For Pinky and Inura. For Alana. Johnny and Fern, Kathleen, Carla, Mina. For John and Maria. Always troubled. Let's hope that they have good recoveries. For Doria, for Gloria. For Connie and Ronnie. For Tally, Mayim. For Nina, Danny. For all those suffering. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, for everybody you know in need, for the whole world, for the bee. We pray for those who need prayer. Friends, it is the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit. And spirit, my friends, never dies. We should bear. Avotenu, k0rach, Limotenu, may the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage, make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. K0rach, let us all have our spirits renewed, because this is the great prayer for healing. Because we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. K0rach, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal and energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now this week we read about a cousin of Moses. And he'll be very familiar to you for those who saw the Ten Commandments. This week we read about k0rach. Now there's two things I want you to think about when you read this. Two very different things. I want you to think about number 16:1, the revolt of k0rach, Dathan, and Abiram. And I want you to think about something in number 17, and that'll be about the budding of Aaron's rod. Just as the standard interpretation of last week was about spies, the standard interpretation for this week, summarized, is basically the story of how k0rach led an unsuccessful rebellion against Moses and Aaron. And after having thwarted the insurrection, God confirms Aaron in the priesthood and provides additional legislation regarding priestly and Levitical privileges and responsibilities. I love history. I've studied history for a historic number of years. Ancient, Middle Eastern, classical, modern, future. Friends, we get so much from history. We learn about social, political, economic, artistic, scientific changes and developments that take place over the years. But there is always a but. The danger from studying history, other than the fact it often does repeat itself, is that, as is said, it's written by the winners. The slant is theirs. The truth is theirs. So what are you really studying? How much of more than one side do you ever get? It's not going to be any different with the Bible. You know, it has always been and probably always will be that way. It's happened in what we study, altering our own views. It happens in our world right now. Some of us will see some of what's written about now, some will not. I guess it depends on who we cancel and erase. And when this current history is written, and ultimately, by whom? Don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about a science book. Don't know much about the French I took. But I do know I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. And that is so true, my friends. Love makes a wonderful world. So go make it wonderful. Stop the hate. The story of k0rach is seen as the story of a failed rebellion. Now, it's an interesting word. It connotes violence, uprising. And, of course, its flip side is revolution, viewed as a forcible overthrow, which often connotes betterment. You know, we think of the French and American revolutions, fights for freedom and independence, and end to tyranny. You say you want a revolution. Well, you know, we all want to change the world. You tell me that it's evolution. Well, you know, we all want to change the world. When you talk about destruction, don't you know you can count me out? There is no room, no need for destruction. This isn't quite Planet of the Apes yet. Words have meaning, my friends, and the choice of words can sometimes win the war. Now, in this reading, there are actually two rebellions we read about. And I'll use the word most often used. Now, most people have an inkling of the story. They know it from the seminal film of the events of the Exodus, the Ten Commandments. The k0rach rebellion scene was portrayed so brilliantly by Edward G. Robinson, known for his roles as a criminal and thug. Here, he's the Hebrew overseer or governor of the people, treating them with the full cruelty of the taskmasters, favoring self, material goods, Pharaoh, over his own people. In the film, the two are merged as one. So it appears to be one rebellion, but there were actually two. He rebels against Moses. And he forces Aaron to make the golden calf, which, when you read the story about the golden calf, you're not so sure he was forced to do anything, to lead the people back to slavery, and is then thwarted by Moses and God. It's a fantastic scene. Then when Moses comes down from the mountain, he sees the commotion, throws the Ten Commandments at the foot of the calf, opens the earth, swallows the revelers. Fantastic story. But that's not what the story really tells. That's the artistic license of history and great editing and script writing. The events are there, but in slightly different order and slightly different fashion. So, what were the two rebellions? Don't forget that the people have been described as grumblers, complainers, whiners. That's your wilderness generation. Well, one of the rebellions challenges Aaron for permanent ownership of the priesthood. The test to determine the winner involves incense and fire, with the losers incinerated like Aaron's sons. The other rebellion was a challenge to Moses for control of the political structure, and that's the ones where the earth opens and swallows the people. These are not rabble as revolutionaries. These are tribal leaders representing other leaders who feel the same way. They feel that this shouldn't be in the hands of one person. The people have been told they're a nation of priests, all of them. So another Levite leader wants to know why Aaron, a Levite, should have permanent single-family control of the priesthood. Aren't all priests deserving of the opportunity? Numbers 16:3. You have too much. For all the community, they're all holy, and in their midst is the Lord. So why should you raise yourself up over the Lord's assembly? Skill versus birthright. Kind of like royal privilege versus ability. And has in history shown us time and again, royal families and privileged rights change in the long run. And always, skill and ability prevail. Today's royalty may not be tomorrow's, but skill is never ending. If we've not always been encouraged to be our best, why do we do that if not to promote? Success and skill go hand in hand, or at least they used to. Then the final test, it involves the staff of the 12 chiefs. And Aaron's staff wins. It flowers and blooms. So Aaron's staff will be the staff used in the future, the staff to rule with, like the one ring, to rule them all. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love, share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Read this section about these rebellions. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Watch how political control and religious control is cemented in one family. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. Remember, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate with each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. So let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to print your will on the universe. Remember, friends, we set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our kavod, our cause, our effect. Everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and be forgiven. You do have that knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. But always do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. You should learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world, just as they are? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? Because if you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand the heart. Quiet the mind. Because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, aware, present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart is all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone is always there for you, whether you know it or not. And continue to explore faith and belief, and never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced, others have too. Because we share together, we learn together, we help each other, we each feel the same things, because we're each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. You're never alone on your journey. Listen to the voice of God. God talks to you. Talks to you alone all the time. And remember, your connection to God and all that's been created in body and soul and spirit and mind. It's a part of you. It's a part of me. It's all of us forever. Listen to his voice. He's talking to you. And enjoy this journey, because we are the wilderness generation. We are on the road in the wilderness, all of us. And all things we see of the people, the forging of a nation, the codes, not just the ritual, but ethical laws, our character, our understanding of the interconnectedness of all comes from here. The reality that we are forever blessed. We're all on the same journey, which is why we have to be better to each other. It is the journey of our leaders, our followers, ourselves. The exodus from Egypt was the first mass revolt against fear. There is something happening here, and fear is becoming the dominant feeling again, and we must rise up against it and stop fear. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speak in their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. I think it's time to stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Well, you know what? You don't have to look very far to see what looks like open rebellion everywhere. Some people don't like some things and they want to see a change. We all want to see change in our lives. Progress to a more harmonious life. There's no need for violence. This has been going on forever, so let's all work together to bring about change for all. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.